You know, in the world of software development, there's this kind of secret weapon that great developers use. It's the key to building software that's not just functional, but elegant, strong, and easy to work with. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that secret: design patterns.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been deep into a project and you hit a problem that just feels super familiar? You get that sense of déjà vu, like, wait a minute, I've solved this exact kind of problem before. We all have, and it happens all the time in software. To really get what's going on here, let's stop thinking about code for a second and think about building a house. Imagine if every single builder, for every single house, had to completely reinvent the idea of a window or a door. It would be absolute chaos, right? Of course, that's why they use blueprints, proven standard plans for these common challenges. And that simple idea, using a plan, is the key. And that brings us to the big villain in our story, the trap of constantly reinventing the wheel. It's this massive, hidden drain on time and energy that can quietly sink projects. See, every app, no matter what it does, runs into the same fundamental hurdles. How do you manage your data? How do you handle requests from a user? How do you get different parts of the system to talk to each other without creating a giant, tangled mess? Trying to come up with a brand new, unique solution for these things every single time, well, it's not just slow, it's a recipe for disaster.
So where did the big breakthrough come from? You'd probably guess it came out of some high-tech computer lab, right? But nope. The answer actually comes from the world of bricks and mortar.
The whole idea came from an architect named Christopher Alexander. Back in the 1970s, he noticed something really profound. He saw that the best, most comfortable, most livable buildings in towns weren't just random creations. They all shared these common, successful patterns. So he came up with this powerful idea: find a problem that happens over and over, and then describe the heart of the solution. So in his world, a pattern wasn't just a design. It was a complete, documented solution. It captured not just the how, but the why. It's not just, hey, put a window here. It's, here's the time-tested, proven way to build a window so that you get lots of light but keep the rain out. See the difference?
Now, an idea this brilliant was never going to stay just in architecture. Pretty soon, a few very smart software engineers had a massive aha moment. They realized they were facing the exact same kinds of problems as architects, just with lines of code instead of bricks.
And you can see the journey right here. Alexander published his groundbreaking book in '77. Then, in 1994, 4 software engineers, who are now legendary and known as the Gang of Four, took his core concept and adapted it for software. Their book basically became the Bible for developers, and today, these ideas are absolutely fundamental to how we build things.
And just like that, the software design pattern was born. It's the same core concept, a reusable blueprint for a common problem. But, and this is so important, it's not a finished piece of code. It's the strategy. It's the battle-tested idea that you use to write your own code.
And this is where a lot of people get tripped up at first. You don't just find a design pattern online and copy-paste it into your project. That's not the point. It's much more like a recipe from a master chef. The recipe gives you the ingredients, it gives you the steps, but you, as the cook, you still have to adapt it to your own kitchen, to the ingredients you have on hand.
Okay, so why did this idea totally take over the software world? Because it does way more than just solve technical problems. It solves human problems. For starters, using patterns gives you a whole toolkit of solutions that you know work. They help you dodge these subtle little traps that might not seem like a big deal at first, but can turn into massive headaches later on. And yeah, that obviously speeds things up a lot. But maybe the most powerful benefit of all is that it creates a shared language for developers. This is the real game changer. Instead of one developer having to spend 10 minutes explaining, okay, so I'm going to make this one special object that handles all the database stuff, and I'll make sure the program can only ever create one of them, they can just say, I'm using a singleton pattern here. And instantly, everyone else on the team knows exactly what they mean. They understand the structure, the pros, the cons, the whole conversation gets elevated. And these patterns aren't just vague, fuzzy ideas. No. They are professional-grade blueprints. Each one is formally documented. It explains what problem it solves, why that problem matters, how all the pieces fit together, and even gives you code examples to look at.
But, and this is a big but, like any powerful tool, they come with a word of caution. You can't just start throwing them at every problem you see. There's this classic trap where a developer learns a cool new pattern, and suddenly they start seeing that pattern everywhere. They try to force it into situations where it just doesn't fit. And when that happens, you can end up with code that's way more complicated and messy than it needed to be.
The difference is really night and day. When you use the right pattern for the right problem, it's beautiful, it's elegant, it's like a key sliding perfectly into a lock. But forcing a pattern where it doesn't belong, that's just clumsy. It's like trying to open that same lock with a hammer. You might get it open, but you're gonna make a mess.
So here's the real takeaway. The skill isn't just memorizing a bunch of patterns. The real skill is knowing when to use them and when not to. The most important step is always to really analyze the specific problem you're trying to solve. Get to the heart of it. Only then should you reach into your toolkit and see if there's a pattern that fits.
You know, in the end, design patterns are so much more than just a technique for programmers. They're really a powerful way of thinking. They teach us to look for recurring challenges and apply proven strategies instead of starting from scratch. The whole idea started with buildings, it was perfected in software, but the concept itself is universal. So, where else do you see it? In the way we cook, from recipes, the way we tell stories, even in business strategies. Once you start looking for them, you start to see these patterns everywhere.